The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Welcome in to an all-new edition of the Belly Up Fantasy Live Baseball Show on the Belly Up Sports Network. And we are inching ever so closely to the end of the fantasy baseball season, and we are prepared to get you set up the rest of the way. I'm Vince Stover. I'm joined, as I am every single week, by the one and only senior writer from bellyupsports.com, focusing on the fantasy side of things, Kevin Wilson. Hey, Kev, how you doing, man?
Vince, we're doing great here in Texas. A little hot, but it is everywhere. So we had a great weekend, and I am absolutely pumped to be talking about baseball. So I am ready to go.
Yeah, it is. So today I got to enjoy a walk-off for the Brewers. Comeback win against Miami. Needed that one. Miami won the series, but that's okay. Next up is the Cubs. So big week ahead. The baseball gods smiling down upon us right now. We'll see how that all shakes down. May talk about that more in segment number 2 tonight. But we are loaded tonight. We're talking our waiver wire ads and drops tonight. We're talking baseball trade news, all this kind of good stuff. And then to start things off, though, we're going to talk fantasy playoffs. How do we get there in these final, 6 matchups that we've got starting tomorrow morning? So let's get things started, if I can find the right clip, with our first segment called the Fantasy Burner. Fantasy Burners presented by Belly Up Sports. 2 ways to consume. Actually, there's more than 2 ways, but 2 main ways to consume Belly Up content. Number 1 is the website, bellyupsports.com. It's got written articles all about fantasy football, fantasy baseball, NFL, college football, NHL, NBA, whatever it may be. It's on bellyupsports.com. And if you're more into the watching of these beautiful faces, you can tune into the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel and watch it all right there as well. There are several shows on the network that air and that go out on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel, including, of course, this one, the Belly Up Fantasy Live Football Show, and the Sports Show Football Show, all there on the Belly Up YouTube channel. All right, so what we're talking about is the fantasy playoffs. We have this final stretch now. We're at that point now where we have to really dig in. If you're not currently in the playoffs, or if you're just in on your league's playoffs, how do we stay in, or how do we get in these final 6 weeks? And before we dive deep into that, I want to turn our attention first, Kevin, to our league that we've been running all season long. It's a 10-man league, points league. And we are at the point now where we have 3 teams already eliminated and have been for quite some time. Then we've got some teams holding out hope. We only allow 4 teams into our fantasy baseball playoffs. And right now, my dad is on top with a record of 14-2. I did not check his score for today to see. Well, let's see here. Let's look real quick so we have up to date. He will win again this week, so he'll be 15-2. Then second place is the champion from our first year, I think, of the league, Chase Thornton. He is currently 13-3. He is the high scorer, but he's going down this week, it looks like, to our co-founder, Mike Brown. So he will be 13-4. I myself am also going down this week. I'm currently in third place at 12-4, but it looks like Nate Nguyen's going to pull off the win. So I'll go to 12-5. Nate Nguyen is in fourth. He'll go to 11-6. And then, Kevin, you're right there on the outside looking in. You get a big win this week, so you're going to be at 10-7, still just 1 game back from Nathan Nguyen. And I apologize, Kevin, as your friend, for not beating Nathan this week and letting you get into that tiebreaker. That's all my fault.
That's right. And I appreciate you, doing that, because last week I took down Nathan, so I did my part.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, but you couldn't count on me this week. Mike Brown is in 6th place. He'll be 2 games back after this week. And then Elizabeth, I believe she will be eliminated this week with she is going to win, though. She's going to beat Caleb, but I think she'll still be eliminated from playoff contention, just being too far out. So looking at that spot where right now Nathan's in 4th, only a game up on the 5th place team, 2 games up on the 6th place team. And again, we still have 6 matchups left. So When we look at that, is it 6 or 5? I forget. Anyways, we talked about this last week. I think it's 6.
Right. Hold on. Here comes some real-time research.
Time research.
Okay.
So
after this week, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks to go.
So starting Monday is 5 weeks, or
correct?
Okay, so 5 matchups.
weeks.
So then we're looking at the 5 matchups, and we're saying, what advice can Kevin and I give you to allow you to win out that spot in the playoffs, to make it to the playoffs, to clinch your spot in the playoffs when you're within a reasonable distance? And I think with 5 weeks to go, a reasonable distance is probably 2 games out, maybe 3 games out. If you're 4 games out with 5 weeks to go, you're living on a prayer right now.
Yeah. Hopefully you don't quit.
Yeah. So first of all, before we say anything as far as advice goes, know your league. Know how many teams make the playoffs, so you know what you need to do. What if you need to push hard, or if you can just, because if you're out of the playoffs, I really don't think you should be making very many moves. I think you should be setting your lineup and things of that nature. But I don't know, Kevin, what's your thoughts? If you're eliminated, should you be out there making waiver wire moves right now, working to win your matchups because it does impact the everybody else? Or do you think your job is to just kind of play out the roster you have, unless you got guys injured and things like that?
Well, if this is kind of because I've never been in a situation like that, but if I were, I would continue to play. I would make sure everybody was honest. If they make the playoffs, it's because they beat me.
Yeah.
And it's a really different story when the actual playoffs begin.
Right.
That you want to stay in your lane and don't be messing with the guys that are whoever's in the playoffs. But until you just, if you're playing, you're playing.
Right.
And you're playing to win, to me. So that's the way I've always viewed it. And other leagues that I've been in that are, football or whatever, that, I might be out of, I'm still going to play as well as I can. So that's the way I've always looked at it.
I like it. I'm in 5 leagues this year. In 1 league, I'm in first place currently. In 2 leagues, I'm currently in the playoffs. And then in 2 other leagues, I'm battling for a playoff spot. Or no, 1 other league, I'm battling for a playoff spot. The other league, I'm out. I'm eliminated. And it's been ugly. And so what I've done in that league is I still set my lineup every day. I may add a pitcher here and there, pay attention to a degree, but I'm not really going out and making the big waiver moves that I normally make. I'm focusing more on, if I got a guy injured, make sure I got somebody in the lineup. I make sure I got the lineup full. But I'm not being aggressive with my waiver wire claims in that league. It's also a keeper league, so I'm just saving for next year, basically. I'm not going to make any crazy drops or trades even. Actually, right. I did make a trade this week, Kevin. It's probably for later in the show, but I'll tell it to you anyways. I traded Gunnar Henderson, and I received Jacob Mizorowski, and that's in a keeper league. And so the Miz from Milwaukee, the guy knew my heartstrings. Gunnar Henderson obviously did not have a great year this year. I said, yeah, I'll make that deal. I got no problem with that. So I made that deal this week. That's in the league I'm eliminated from as well. So if I was in the playoffs, I probably wouldn't have made that trade, honestly. But I am. So I'm looking to next year. I'm out of the playoffs, so I'm looking to next year to make that move. But let's talk about making the playoffs, Kevin. You're in our Belly Up league. That's where you're at right now. You're 1 game out. You're striving to make the playoffs. I know not a lot changes for you from your normal week to week, because you already play hard all the time anyhow. But I'll start with you. If you've got a word of advice to people that are trying to make the playoffs or trying to hold their spot in the playoffs, what's the advice that you give?
First thing I would say is that don't be in love or with a particular player. Yeah. There are players, of course, that you can't drop. But anyone else is subject to, he might be, somebody that's 90% rostered. But if he's not performing and there's a guy that you can add that can help you and somebody else picks him up later, you're not concerned about any of that. You're concerned about the here and now. You have to do what you have to do to get the guy that's going to help you further yourself. Because if you hold on to this guy and lose the matchup, what's good is that?
Right.
So don't be in love with certain players. They're all open, and our training deadline is coming up.
Yes.
It's this week. So if you're okay, this guy is performing, but there's somebody else that you like that's better, that that you can maybe make a trade, do that. And so that would be my first advice. Just any player is not undroppable at this point, unless they're undroppable. But other than that, you got to play to do it today to win right now.
I'm glad you said that, Kevin, because I am stereotypically a very patient roster manager. And I end the year usually with guys that other people dropped in the first 2 months of the season, because I'm like, well, they're going to come around, right? I got Michael Harris in one league recently.
I just picked him up in our league.
Yeah. And so
I dropped him.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, because I dropped him because he was awful.
Yep.
But he's heated up. The Braves have gone down the drain.
Yeah.
But he's heated up, so I picked him back up.
Yeah, and so right now, if you're trying to make the playoffs, you can't be patient anymore.
No.
It really does not matter who it is. Ozzie Albies, great name, one of the better second basemen in recent years, whatever it may be. Now, I've got him in a league, but I'm also in the playoffs in that league already, so I'm not fighting for a spot. You might have to make a decision. Is he worth hanging on to? Is he worth moving on from? If you're trying to make the playoffs, it's different than if you're, early in the season. It's different than if you're already locked into the playoffs and you still have time to be patient with them. But now's the time to be thinking, okay, if this guy has not been performing, like Kevin said, trade him if you can trade him, because they got a name to him, right? So you might be able to trade him. And if you can't, and you can find someone who's scoring better than them, then you got to make the deal, and you've got to cut them loose. And don't worry about it. What if they come back and have a great playoff? You have to make the playoffs.
That's right.
Or you have to worry about if they're going to have a good playoffs. So let's worry about now winning. And that kind of goes into my first thing, Kevin, is you have to win each matchup. So you're not worried about the future,
right,
as much as you are about the right now. And so this week, you turn the page, new matchup starts tomorrow. If you're listening to us live, if you're listening to us on Monday, new matchup starting today, right? And so you've got to be thinking, how do I win this matchup? If you're in a categories league, every single day you need to check, what categories do I need? So if I'm making a waiver wire pickup, I'm focusing specifically on that category. If you're in a points league, then you're focusing on who's hot right now. Who is playing a bad team right now? Who's playing the White Sox? Who's playing the Angels? Who's playing the Rockies? Those kinds of things. You're looking at who can I get points from today? And you're making that focus simply on winning the matchup, one matchup at a time. I know that's coach speak. Anytime I interview a coach and I ask them, talk to me about this your most important game of the season, they're always going to say the next one. Listen, this matchup is the most important matchup in your season right now. You have to win this one before you worry about the next one. So that means you might have to let go of guys, like Kevin said, that normally you wouldn't necessarily let go of. But if they're not performing, they're going to cause you to lose the matchup. You got to cut them loose and just say, if someone else picks them up and all of a sudden they turn it on, it is what it is. If they're not performing for you, if they're going to make you lose your matchup, you've got to get rid of them right now and pick up someone who will help you win your matchup. So that's my first bit of advice. Is it's kind of a few things mixed in there, I guess. But focus on this week. Get this week one.
Absolutely. And it also helps if because in my case, it's all right there in front of me because I'm looking at the schedule. You and I play this next week coming up. And after that, I've got Chase Thornton.
Yeah.
Then a week, it's kind of easy there. But then I play your dad.
Yeah.
So those are three that are in the playoffs at present time. If I can take them down or you're down and make the end. So I'm not going to be freeloading my way into it. And so I need to be on the top of my game because I'm not playing Ryan. No punking on Ryan, but I put him away early and often.
Yeah.
And so that allowed me to kind of focus on this next coming up week. That's all out the window now. There's only this week. And you need
Yeah.
to be laser focused during that week to day. Well, this guy's 0 for 8 starting off the week. Okay, dude, back of the bus for you.
Yeah.
And that's the way you kind of look at it.
Yeah, I see. I'm the other way around. I play you, this week, and then after that, nobody I play the rest of the season is currently in the playoffs, and you are really the only one close. So I've got an easy run out the rest of the way. I still got to win the matchup though. Like if I get beat by these guys, it's not a good thing. And so yeah, 1 week at a time, and that's important. Listen, I think the biggest advice, we give it every week, Kevin, but it's be active on the waiver wire.
That's
You
right.
talked about letting go of guys, whatever, but you just have to be aware. And I hate giving advice that I know I use every single day, because I know people in our league will watch the show. And if they're not already doing this, then it puts me at a disadvantage. But as soon as first pitch happens, go on and look at the pitchers for the next day. See who's going to be the probable starters. Because as soon as the first pitch goes out on ESPN, if you go to available players and probable starters, it shows you the next day's probable starters.
That's
and
right.
You get on there really easily, see who's starting, who are they starting against. And as soon as first pitch goes out on, let's call it first pitch on Monday goes out, you can add people for Tuesday. And so many times I get the jump on people. We had someone previously in our league that complained, well, you guys are too active. You guys get on before everybody else. No, we have the same opportunity as everybody else. And yeah, we are active. Me and Kevin's more active than I am on waiver wire pickups. He's always leads our league in waiver wire pickups. But that's what I do when I need pitchers, is as soon as first pitch goes out, I get on, see who's pitching the next day. Who can I add? Who can I drop? I usually, in almost all my leagues, I have pitchers that are streamers. And so every week I can drop them and pick up somebody else the next day. And maybe I'll get them again next week, but maybe their matchup isn't good the next week. So I move on from them, whatever, not a big deal. All I'm worried about is tomorrow. Who's pitching tomorrow that I could use on my team? And I go on and get those guys. And sometimes it's when we get to the waiver ads, we're going to have some names on there that, you don't want on your team all the time, but no. This week because they're pitching against a bad team. And I think I said that earlier, but not only do you find hitters who are playing bad teams or playing in good ballparks, find pitchers who are pitching against bad teams. You can get a not stellar pitcher who's pitching in the right situation and get you 18 to 20 points because they're playing a bad team in a good situation.
Right. And this is a classic example of what we're talking about, because this week, if we look ahead, which I've done, Thursday, there are 3 games. And that's all. 3. So you might have, of course you have a full roster, but you only have 2 guys playing.
Yep.
And so if that's you and you already, got everything rolling, that's fine. But if I only have 2 guys going on Thursday,
right,
that's a problem. Right. And I'm not saying that you add somebody that's 0 for 16 just because they're playing that day.
Right.
But if there's a player that's playing that day and you've identified him today, go ahead and make that move, because I already made some moves with Thursday in mind today. I did that earlier today.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing we're talking about. No, not just your schedule, but actual MLB schedule. Monday usually has a few teams playing, but there are a whole bunch of teams playing tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's not a concern. Thursday is a concern. So know your schedules and plan ahead.
And along with that, you're starting to get these makeup games, rained out games and things like that. I love doubleheaders. If I can get a batter that's going to play both games in a doubleheader, I love it. Because there's potential. Now, again, it could go horribly wrong too.
Right.
but I'll always take a shot at that. I usually have at least 1, if not 2 bench players, that I can bring in and out of the lineup. And if I see someone with a doubleheader, they're in. I got them in for sure because that gives them 2 games in most cases. Sometimes they're only, if it's a catcher, they may only play the first game or the second game. They may DH, 1 game and catch the second game. You got to know what's going on with your roster. But that goes along with knowing your schedule. Keep an eye on those rainouts. Keep an eye on those double headers, things like that. If you're making a waiver wire pickup and there's a double header and you got a guy who's, within 3 to 4 points of the other guy, but he's got a double header, I'd go with the double header guy almost every time. So, yeah. So those are the kind of things you got to look for. It really is just about paying attention. We tell people this that join our league. All we ask is that you pay attention.
Pay attention. And going along with that, because a lot of times a game is supposed to, and they're saying, okay, there's a delay.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And if you see that there's a delay and then you've got another guy you can slide in there, I would do that just because he's going to play. Yeah. Or, just know what's going on in not just fantasy, but the real world. And just don't be afraid to react, because there are a lot of people who are like, oh, they have to have all these stats and everything else. And you have to have a computer and everything else. No, it's all that matters is today.
Right.
Or this week, and make the moves that you feel will strengthen your team and forget everything else.
It's worth, if you're serious about making your playoffs, it is worth checking the weather. You go through, ESPN makes it real easy. You go to the scores, you click on the game, scroll all the way to the bottom, and it gives you the estimated weather for the game. And if you see it's going to be rainy, because sometimes they hit that delay and you can't change it. It hits game time.
Right.
And all of a sudden it goes delayed and you can't change your guy. So pay attention to the weather a little bit. Know where the rain's going to be in the country and understand, hey, there could be issues here. So maybe I keep an eye on that. Maybe I'm at work and I don't typically pay attention. I think, hey, that game's starting at 3:30. I should probably get on about 3:00 and just check to see what the weather's looking like. And if they're going to be able to play that game, because sometimes they delay it and it's too late for you to make a change, or a guy that you could have subbed in has already started playing and you missed out on the chance to get them in too. So a lot plays into it.
That's right.
A lot plays into it. But
right. This is exactly what you're talking about, because tomorrow, Toronto Blue Jays at Baltimore. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a high of 96 and a low of 76. So you have no worries there of whether this game is going to play or not. Yeah. Might have to worry about whether or not they've got Gatorade in the dugout because it's 96 degrees, but you don't have to worry about that game, any kind of concern at all. So that's exactly what you're talking about.
That's it. All right. Any other advice you want to give before we switch gears?
Nope. I think we pretty much covered it.
All right, people, listen. You just got to care a little bit. That's all we're asking. Just care a little bit.
Right. Especially if you're out of the playoffs. Care and, don't just give up.
Yeah. Pay attention.
Don't give somebody an easy chance because, like your dad, let's say, I don't know who he's playing, but let's say it's somebody that's out of the playoffs. And so you don't set your roster. So he's, you're giving him a golden ticket. Don't do that.
That's right. That's right. All right. That's segment 1, the Fantasy Burner, presented by Belly Up Sports, bellyupsports.com, and Belly Up Sports on YouTube. Let's head into segment number 2. We call it the Hot Corner. The Hot Corner is presented by Righteous Felon Jerky. Join the flavor revolution at righteousfelon.com, and you can get 15% off your purchase if you use the promo code BELLYUP when you check out. All right, Kevin, we're talking about all this excitement that's going on, all these different things that are happening in games. And last week you looked at the playoff races and all those kinds of things. But right now, the hottest topic in Major League Baseball is the trade deadline. And we started to see some moves happen. I don't know that I would say any of them have been massive to get us going, but there have been some moves happen. I'm curious if there's any move that stands out to you at this point. And we'll talk about future moves in a second, but anything that's happened already that made you go, wow, that's a pretty good deal because we always think fantasy wise, especially like either a deal that you say that really helped that team, or a deal that you go, man, fantasy wise, that's a big boost.
Well, the move that is the one that we haven't seen.
Yeah.
And that's Eugenio Suarez. And I saw the picture of him in his last game in Arizona, sitting there in the dugout looking out at things because he knows his bags need to be packed. And we talked about this on the No Credentials Required show the other night, and talked about Seattle. We talked about Arizona, which made a trade, but not with Eugenio Suarez. They, in fact, trade Josh Naylor.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think that's a good because he's a left-handed hitter, so I think that works better up there. And the other thing that the Yankees did, and this has got to I'm scratching my head a little bit over this because Ryan McMahon is who they traded to be their third baseman. That doesn't move the needle for me at all. I know he showed it that he's a quality defensive third baseman.
Yeah.
Which is something that they needed, but he's in Colorado and hitting less than 220. Plus, he's second in all of baseball in strikeouts.
Yeah.
So that does not move my. I don't know what the Yankees are doing there. If the asking price for Suarez was too high, but so where does Eugenio Suarez wind up is the biggest question coming into this week for me.
All right. So let me hit on a few things real quick. Ryan McMahon to New York. I look at this similarly to the Andrew Vaughn trade earlier that we talked about with the Brewers. Putting McMahon in a winning situation, a winning culture, surrounded by guys who can really play baseball. Today he went 2 for 3, he had 2 RBIs. I think the thing I like about Ryan McMahon, because I considered him for Milwaukee. I thought that was an option possibly several weeks ago. I actually like Milwaukee's third base situation at the moment, but I don't hate this trade for New York. I think that defensively was important for them. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to need, if you've watched anything of the Yankees, they've made some horrendous defensive plays this season. I mean, horrendous defensive plays. And Ryan McMahon could hit 9th for all I care, as long as he doesn't do what New York's been doing as of late. That being said, I think, again, he's a professional. He's had very good moments in his career. And if I was playing in Colorado, there would be days I think it would be hard to really be motivated to be the best I can be in Colorado. And so I think the move to New York is a positive thing, obviously, for McMahon. And I think it's positive for New York, too. Is it the best move they could have made? I'm not sure. Probably not, but I don't think it was bad. I think it was still a good move there. And even fantasy wise, I looked around at the leagues. I was like, all right, let's see where Ryan McMahon's available. Let's see if I've got anybody I'd be willing to drop to pick him up, those kinds of things. And there wasn't in the leagues that he was available in. I like my rosters where I'm at on those. But I think, again, if you're in the playoffs already and you need a third baseman, Ryan McMahon makes sense because, why not? Let's see what happens. Let's give it a couple weeks with New York and see how things break down with him. So I don't mind that one at all. The Braves went out and got Eric Fetty from the Cardinals, the pitcher. The big news that happened just, I think within the time that we've been on the show, Kevin, Seth Lugo signing an extension, a multi-year extension in Kansas City. One of the hottest pitcher names that we've heard in the trade market right now. And he's sticking with Kansas City. I'm really surprised by that. I thought he was going to get moved. He's on I put him on the graphic for our show tonight. I thought he was definitely a hot name in the trade commodity market. He signed an extension with Kansas City, which I love to see. I do not understand why teams, as soon as they get out of the playoffs, as soon as it looks like they're going to miss the playoffs, they trade all their good players away. And it's like, come on, what about next year? That's like the one sport where we don't care about next year. We're either looking 7 years down the road or we're looking for right now. And it's like, come on, let's hang on to some guys. It's amazing that Mike Trout never got moved out in Los Angeles. But that being said, there's a lot of talk right now. Eugenio Suarez, is definitely still the biggest name on the market. There's rumors that Nolan Arenado could still get moved at some point. That would be an interesting one for sure. But I think he got hurt recently, I think. No, he didn't. Never mind. Just kidding. He's okay. That was a little while ago. So I mean, you look at the options out there right now. The Cubs are going to swing at somebody. They're going to make a move somewhere. The Phillies are going to try to improve.
As is the Dodgers.
Yeah, the Dodgers too. I think the Dodgers' biggest issue is injuries, though. More
It
so.
is. And they're going to make a move in their bullpen because Tanner Scott, even before he was hurt,
yes,
was not looking good.
But there's bullpen guys available.
There are.
Intrigued to see where they go.
There are going to be 1,000 relievers traded between now and Thursday. So
yes, but you look at teams who has what it takes to get them, right?
Right.
So, Los Angeles, they've got pieces. Don't get me wrong, but are they willing to give up what it's going to take to get some of these relievers?
That's right. You can say the same thing about the Yankees.
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
At least it's some of the top guys like Jason Dominguez and guys like that.
Yeah.
And so are they willing to make a move? The Dodgers farm system is far superior to the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
So they could make a move. And that's one of the things that nobody really talks about because the Dodgers have a fine farm system.
Yeah.
That's how do they make a trade for Mookie Betts? Because they have a fine farm system. Yeah. Just one example. So there's going to be some moves coming up, and I'm kind of surprised that we're this close to the trade deadline and we haven't seen more movement. But I think between now and the next 4 days, there's going to be so many moves you may not be able to keep track of them. So
yeah, there's going to be a lot happening for sure. I think you're going to see more pitcher movement than anything else. And again, that bullpen is going to be the big one. Will Arizona, how much will Arizona sell is an interesting question. Will Gallen, Merrill Kelly, will they get moved? Suarez, you assume is going to get moved. There's a hot enough market for him. I'd be shocked if he doesn't. But again, giving up Suarez doesn't kill the Diamondbacks' future. Like, it's
right.
He's not young.
Yeah, he's 30, whatever he is.
Yeah, I think he's mid-30s at least.
At least mid-30s. So, yeah, so you're not sacrificing tomorrow.
Right.
Whereas Zach Gallen and Merrill,
yeah,
they're veterans too, but
and I always look at the bad teams, right? You look at the Rockies.
Absolutely. Rockies, they already made a move. The Twins are the interesting team to me in this scenario because they won, 13 in a row earlier? It means nothing at all. And so does Duran get moved? Their closer.
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
I hope so. I just picked him up in a league.
I saw that. I did see that you did do that. That's a sensible move that if you're in the playoffs makes all the sense if he's available.
Yeah. Yeah. The A's, Brent Rooker, there's rumors about him possibly getting moved. Like the A's have some guys that aren't, crazy young that they could move on and get some more younger pieces for and things like that too.
Right.
As well. So it's going to be intriguing to watch. When you look at the playoff picture, not a lot has changed from last week. We spent a good amount of time on that last week. I'm trying to think if there's anything I really want to point out here. I don't think there is.
And another team that needs to make a move, the Detroit Tigers.
Yes.
Except for today, because they won today. They have looked awful. So last year they sold and still made the playoffs. This year they need to change that over and make some moves to make the playoffs.
What kind of move do you have something in mind? Because that's the one thing I look at with the Tigers and go, okay, had a great start to the season. Man, they were rolling.
They were
Major League Baseball there for a while. But what do they do? Who do they add? Who do they go after to get good enough to dominate in the AL again? Because I don't know who's out there offensively that makes a drastic difference on this team. I mean, Suarez would help. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm intrigued.
Maybe they can call up Miami and what's Mr. We're going to talk. I'm going to talk about him in a minute, but that would be Mr. Cabrera down there.
Okay.
Okay. Possibly Alcantara, although I'm not as big on him.
Yeah,
But,
pitching. I don't love the starting pitcher market right now in the trade market. I did like Lugo. I thought that was an interesting one if someone could snag him. I'd like the Arizona guys, Gallen and Merrill Kelly as well. And Arizona and Detroit have had a little bit of interaction in the past.
From Detroit, I think I'd be more interested in Merrill.
Yeah.
That Gallen just has not looked like himself this year.
Yeah, I don't
if
know.
He did, he wouldn't be on the market, I'm sure. But
yeah,
I'm
that's
not,
an interesting one. That's an interesting for sure. So yeah, I mean, Toronto's another team to watch. They're playing really good baseball right now. So do they look to add something a piece or whatever it may be? There's a lot of options out there right now.
Yeah, so. And Toronto's the one team that's currently playing well that I've heard no rumors that they are looking to either move or go get. So if they do some things, that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and again, I go back to it like they got a good roster.
They do.
They don't really need a whole lot.
No, they just beat the Yankees 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
And so they're taking care of business.
And sometimes teams make a move because they don't want another team to get it. So they for instance, Toronto could make a move because they don't want the Yankees to get a guy. Well, that's not why you make moves. You have to focus on your team. What makes your team best? Right now, they're 5.5 up on the Yankees. So keep doing what you're doing, Toronto. It's finally good from there. Reds and Cardinals, I'm really intrigued by them because they're in the Brewers division. What happens there? Do the Reds sell? I mean, they've got all kinds of talent. So do they sell or do they hold steady? Do they try to go out and make a move? Those kinds of things as well. Because right now they are a game out.
One game.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
So if I'm them, I'm not selling because they're right there. So what do they do?
As I say all the time, it's post All-Star break. The Reds are going down.
That's a different discussion. But like the Cardinals, I'm not believing in them.
Right,
they're having a better season than I gave them credit for. But now we're seeing that the wheels are starting to come off a little bit. And so, what do they do with Helsley?
Right. Well, I mean, now's the time to sell Arenado. At the beginning of the season, they are probably getting lowball offers. I'm guessing.
I would imagine
he's had a good year. Now's the time to sell. Now's the time to say, okay, here's a guy. We already got Goldschmidt out. Let's keep getting younger, and you can get at the trade deadline for a team that is desperate. And Arenado would be a great addition to a lot of teams. You could get something for him. You could get a couple of prospects for him right now that you couldn't have gotten at the beginning of the season. So those are the things you got to watch for, those kind of things there. And fantasy wise, I guess we can probably talk about this in the next segment, but fantasy wise, if someone gets traded, someone has to take their spot on that team.
That's right.
So pay attention on the waiver wire. Ryan McMahon gets traded. Who plays third base in Colorado? Right now, I'm not saying go out and get him, but pay attention to it. Right? If someone gets moved, who steps in? A starting pitcher gets moved. Well, who's going to fill their spot in the rotation? By the way, one of the other problems some teams have is they get a player that gets injured. The guys that step in play better than the guy that got injured. And now they're trying to trade those guys. Mainly, I'm thinking of the Brewers' Nestor Cortez. I've heard his name on the market because the Brewers don't need Nestor Cortez. so exactly. Those are kind of things too. You got to just injuries and trades. Know who's filling the spots every single time, because that's when guys like Mick Abel came up in Philadelphia and things like that when he pitched because injuries happen. Those are the things you got to watch for all along the way. So I feel like I'm forgetting something else newsworthy in the MLB.
Well, we could mention because the Hall of Fame was today. And let's see, Kyle Schwarber, 1,000 career hits.
Okay.
Also, Nick Kurtz, talking about young players, became the first rookie ever to hit 4 home runs in a game.
Yeah, I'd like to go back. I didn't have the time to go back and find the clip. We tried to tell you. Nick Kurtz.
I listened because he's on my team.
Yeah.
And he delivered 33 fantasy points on Friday.
Yes,
33.
my son told me because he was playing against you, I believe, in that league. Maybe it was a different league, but I don't know what league you have him in. But yeah, my son told me, he said, did you hear about Nick Kurtz hitting 4 home runs? I was like, yeah. He's like, sadly, the guy that I'm playing this week has him on his roster and had 33 fantasy points. Like, yeah.
So that's certainly newsworthy. Talking about the Yankees, Aaron Judge on the IL.
Yeah, that stinks.
Yeah, and but apparently it's not as bad as they initially thought it was. So maybe he can get some rest and avoid the late season slumps that he's been known to do. So maybe that's a net positive. We'll see.
And they did say that Judge will only be DH when he comes back, as well. So he will not be playing in the field the rest of the season.
So that's because and we talked about this last week as far as Stanton's concerned, and I put that out and was roundly pretty much drubbed into the ground for it. But until that happens, though, Stanton is still a quality guy to have on your fantasy team.
Yes.
You said it. I'm saying it again. And he's injury prone. Well, you drop him. It's not that hard.
Yeah, he gets hurt, drop him.
He goes, he'll go into a slump. Drop him.
Right.
It's not that hard. But as we talked about last week, he's swinging a nice bat.
Yes.
And with Aaron Judge on the IL, he might very well move up in that batting order. So for present time, Stanton's a good guy to have on your team. I'm sure he's not available pretty much now, but if he is, go get him.
Last thing I got for this segment is pay so much attention to the Council Curse this week.
That's right.
Tomorrow, Monday night, starts a 3-game series, Brewers versus the Cubs.
And they're tied
for
right now. Place, so there's not anything more that could be on the line in this series.
You've got, for the Brewers, you've got Jacob Mizorowski, Quinn Priester, who they acquired from the Red Sox earlier this season, and then Freddie Peralta. Those are the 3 guys going this week for Milwaukee. I just, listen, I'm a believer in the baseball gods, and I would love to see lightning strike. It's gonna be beautiful. So keep an eye out for that this week. The ultimate Council Curse coming in Milwaukee.
That's right.
All right. Let's head into segment 3 of the Hot Corner presented by Righteous Felon Jerky, righteousfelon.com. Promo code BELLYUP will save you 15% on your purchase at checkout. Bootleg and barbecue, my favorite flavor. They've got a lot of good ones. The teriyaki balboa is really good too. They've got a Korean barbecue one that's phenomenal. Soul, forget what it's called now. Really good though. They all are. So check them out, righteousfelon.com. All right, segment 3 is the fantasy focus. Fantasy Focus is presented by SeatGeek. Hey, you got to buy tickets to go to games. So why not buy them through SeatGeek and save some money? SeatGeek.com. Use the promo code BellyUpSports. You're going to get $20 off your first purchase there. All right, let's get into ads and drops. Again, I've stayed more positive this year, so I don't have any specific drops I'm going to mention. But Kevin, I'm sure as Negative Nancy, you've got some drops for us this week.
I have a couple. And this goes back to our strategy that we talked about earlier, because the first one I have is Drew Rasmussen of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And he's in his last 4 appearances, he's only has 11 innings.
Yeah.
11 in 4 appearances, not, 2 appearances, but 11 innings, and that's all. Hasn't won since June 25th. Okay, so we're a month away from the last time he won a game, and tomorrow he's going up in New York and playing the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
So that is a bad juju all the way around to me. And if you're fighting to make the playoffs, this is a guy you don't want on your fantasy team right now.
Yeah.
And because Tampa Bay is starting to come apart a little bit, and I thought, well, we talked about that. Well, later in the season do these road games catch up to them. I believe that's what's happening. And they're going to be at New York starting tomorrow. So that's not something I'm willing to invest in. If he was on my fantasy, and he was on one of my teams, but I had to say la vie to you. So that's one.
I was looking at pitchers, relief pitchers, and he's labeled as a relief pitcher, starting pitcher, relief pitcher.
Right.
And I dropped him, and I was looking at him, and I was like, man, no. If he was long relief, maybe, but he's starting games, and he's still only getting 3 or 4 innings a game. It's not ideal.
Right. So that's not good. And the other one, we've talked about him before, and we say that his name's not worth speaking in this earth, but Marcell Ozuna. Okay. Awful. No hits since June 12th. Not a single base hit since June 12th. Okay. And only a 10 at bats in that particular place. And he's still at 63.8% rostered. Only a DH. He's missing games. This guy's got to go. And
all right, I'm going to pump the brakes on this one for a second. I know this coming from me. This is wild. But Marcell Ozuna might get traded. And I know he's not playing well right now. And if you're fighting for a playoff spot, I 100% agree with Kevin. You got to drop him. But if you're able to wait through the trade deadline and see what happens to Ozuna, where does he move? Where does he get? Does he get every day? He has a no trade clause, which he said, I will waive if they tell me I have a chance to play every day. If you're able to be patient and you already have him on your roster, I say give it a couple more days and see if he gets moved. And if he doesn't, then cut him loose. And I I actually acquired him in a trade and I've had him now. He's been mostly on my bench. I haven't cut him yet, but again, it's a league that I'm in the playoffs. But I got him and Berrios for Giancarlo Stanton. So
okay.
Yeah, I was like, I'll take that. So, because him and Stanton played the same position, DH. It's all there.
Absolutely. And you throw in Berrios, who can be a solid pitcher. That's a solid trade right there.
So that's the only thing I'll say about it. And I've never defended Marcell Ozuna ever on this show, and I can't believe I'm doing it now. But if he gets traded, he may still have the value worth keeping around. But that's only if you can be patient for another couple days to see what happens. If not, it's been bad, very bad. If he doesn't get moved, you got to get rid of him. So I'm with you on that, Kevin.
Right. Especially, like I said, he's only a DH.
Right.
And so he clogs up that one spot if you even have a DH. If you don't, then it's really tough to keep this guy around because all you can do is put him in a utility spot.
Right. Right.
So those are the only two that I have.
Okay, I like him. All right, let's switch over then to ads this week. We're trying to help people make the playoffs. Right. So I'll let you kick us off with your first name, someone to pick up this week.
Okay, so first name is somebody that we talked about last week, and he has held up his end of the bargain, and that's Patrick Corbin of the Texas Rangers. Yeah. We talked about him, like I said, last week, and still at only 7.4% rostered. And a 3.78 ERA, which is very solid. He's pitching the 6th inning, which has never been his problem. He'll give you innings.
Right.
6 innings in 4 of his last 5 starts. And so he is pitching extremely well. And Tuesday, he pitches against the Angels. And so that's Angels aren't necessarily out of the playoff mix, but I'm not buying that 1%. All right. And so if you can get a guy that will give you 6 innings and let's say 15 fantasy points, I'm going to go for that. And so pick him up. If he's still available at 7%, he's got to be available. So go get him.
Yeah, Angels, I like picking up, especially pitchers against the Angels. I know they're not the worst team in the league, but pitchers fare well against the Angels. So I like that one a lot, Kevin. I could have picked among 3 or 4 Chicago White Sox players this week. But I'm choosing to go with shortstop Colson Montgomery. Rookie this year. He's come alive. He has batting .258 on the season, 13 RBIs. He's only been playing consistently now for about a month. 13 RBIs, 3 home runs. Those 3 home runs all came last week. So something had clicked. 2 against Tampa, 1 against the Cubs. And something has clicked with Colson Montgomery. He is their shortstop of the future. He is the guy that's going to be around. They're not going to pull him the rest of the season. He's out there right now just to get, as many at bats as he can get. And so in the last, I think the last week, maybe he's hitting way better. 273. It's over his average, and he's been really, really solid. So especially if he's adding power, if he's starting to hit home runs, like from that shortstop position, I feel like shortstops have been a pretty deep position all year. Overall, you've been able to find pretty good people there. But I really like Colson Montgomery being as young as he is and knowing that he's the future in Chicago. I like that too, where he's going to get a lot of at-bats in this close of the season. So I like Colson Montgomery a lot. 2.9% rostered in ESPN leagues right now. So he's available pretty much everywhere. He's worth going after, I think, this week.
Okay, I like that one a lot. And so I move on to another pitcher, and it's Eric Lauer of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah.
This guy's at 18, almost 19% rostered, and has pitched extremely well. Toronto has, we just talked about them. But 6-2, 2.61 ERA, 0.93 WHIP. Yep. What more could you possibly ask for on somebody that's on the waiver wire? This is what you could ask for, okay? The last 2 games, he's pitching in San Francisco and Detroit, both playoff, teams are in the mix. 14 innings, 3 runs, 7 hits, 13 strikeouts, no base on balls, and this is the kicker. 27 and 30 fantasy points his last 2 games. And Tuesday at Baltimore, the collapsing Orioles. What more could you possibly ask for out of a pitcher? If this guy is available, doesn't matter what else is on your team. Locked in the playoffs, whatever. This guy is somebody that we talk about, guys that you can pick up and keep on your team. This is one of them right here. If he's available, get him on your team some way, somehow.
Yeah, I had him on my list too, Kevin. 3 of his last 4 games that were quality starts. His last 2 were phenomenal. Baltimore, they've had moments now where they're playing a little better at times and things like that too. I still like the matchup. Toronto, very few teams are playing better than Toronto's playing right now. Also, I like Eric Lauer, pitched for the Brewers as well, so I knew of him a little bit, kept my eye on him throughout the season as well. So I like that one a lot. Like I said, also on my list. I'm going to go kind of, I guess, opposite of that then, because I'm going to go with a Baltimore hitter as my next guy, and that's Ramon Laureano. And he's an outfielder. I picked him up this week in a different league. I needed an RBI on Saturday, and so I picked up Laureano and benched one of my stolen base guys for him, and he got me exactly what I needed for that day. Against Colorado, I would like to have seen a better performance by him, honestly. But a good series against Cleveland before that. And he's hitting 275, 14 home runs, 43 RBIs. He even throws in 4 stolen bases. So occasionally get you the stolen base as well. 6.8% rostered in ESPN leagues. And again, I kind of like the way Baltimore's been playing as of late. And so with that being said, I still think Lauer's a great pickup for this week. I like him pitching against Baltimore, but I also like Ramon Laureano right now too, and what he's given fantasy owners. So I think he's a solid pickup when you're looking for an outfielder this week.
Well, you and I are in lockstep because I've got him on my list as well, and you mentioned all the reasons why. So I've got him, and I've got Eric Lauer. So we're both right there on both of those guys. So
all right. Well, let me give you another White Sox. Why not? Right while we're on.
Okay, bring it.
And this one will blow your mind, Kevin.
Okay, I'm settled in. Go.
This is a streamer for this week.
Okay.
Starting pitcher who that's all he wanted to do was pitch. That's all he asked for. Just let me start. And the Brewers couldn't answer that for him. So they sent him to Chicago. Aaron Savali, who is 2-6 with a 4.38 ERA, 48 strikeouts, 1.34 whip. You say, why in the world would I want Aaron Savali on my team? Well, we mentioned it earlier, actually. Friday is his next start, and he pitches against the Los Angeles Angels. The last 3 starts for Savali have been double-digit fantasy points for you. Against Pittsburgh, which I know Pittsburgh's not a good team, but neither are the Angels. Against Pittsburgh, he went 6 innings. He went no earned runs, only 1 walk and 6 strikeouts. He had 6 strikeouts in his last game against the Chicago Cubs, of all teams, as well. From there, he has a 0 ERA in his last 2 starts. And again, he's playing against the Angels on Friday. It's a great matchup. Savali is right now, he's pitching well. And when you got a good matchup and you got a guy pitching well, that's a match made in heaven, in my opinion. So for this week and this week alone, Aaron Savali, the Chicago White Sox, I think is a great ad this week.
Okay, so this next guy, also a pitcher who is known as the warrior god in certain places. Okay. But that's Justin Verlander.
Oh, wow.
Who just won his first game of the year. Okay. And at Atlanta, that just goes to show how badly Atlanta's playing. But 5 innings, no runs, 1 hit. Okay. And you just mentioned them, the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Who does Verlander pitch against on Tuesday at San Francisco? That would be the Pittsburgh Pirates. And he's at 6.7% rostered. And I am not saying to have this guy on your team any further than Tuesday. But the Pittsburgh Pirates and then San Francisco is a pitcher's park. That is a great, great matchup. So I would certainly be looking at have him come in and pitch this one game. Like you said, as soon as the whistle blows, you cut him loose. But Pittsburgh at San Francisco is about the best matchup you could possibly ask for, except for maybe Colorado. Okay. But so I like that matchup a lot. I don't really care for Verlander, like I said, because it's his first win. It's July.
Right.
But this matchup screams at me. And so if you need starting pitching, that's what I would look for.
I like it. Last guy I've got's another outfielder, this one from Cincinnati, Austin Hayes. I liked him earlier in the year too. Then he lost some consistency of playing time, injuries, different things. He's back to consistency again. I like his last week, especially Washington. He was 1 for 4 in their final game there against Tampa. They went 3 for 5. Then an 0 for 3 game, then a 1 for 4 game with an RBI and a stolen base too. So there's points being added every time. I think you're running out of time to jump on these Reds. I honestly think the Reds are about to fall off, but right now they're not off yet. So now's the time to jump on some of these guys. And so I've got Austin Hayes. He's only rostered in 15% of leagues right now, as well. Outfielder, DH eligible in ESPN leagues too. To me, he's been a player I've watched all season, had him on a couple times, dropped him off a couple times, things like that. I think now's a good time to add Austin Hayes on for this week's matchups.
Okay, so I like that one a lot. And so the last guy that I'm going to go with is a guy that we've mentioned before, and that's Brian Bello of the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
Okay. He's at 22% rostered, so he may not be available in a whole lot of leagues, but he is in ours. And I've liked what he's done in the past. And but the last 2 games he's pitched against the Chicago Cubs and the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yep.
So you can kind of take those 2 starts and water them down just a little bit.
Yeah.
But even so, he has pitched into the 6th inning and 5 of his last 6 starts. His ERA for the season is 3.32, so that's solid. Last 4 games, 24 strikeouts, 4 base on balls. And the key, of course, is the matchup, because Wednesday he's at Minnesota, where have they completely come off the rails. And so if he's available, I really like him to start this week.
I like it, Kevin. I think those are a lot of good ads this week for people to pay attention to. You want to win your week, you got to start by taking sound advice. I think we've been able to give it tonight.
That's right.
Update on our league. Coming into tonight's show, I was losing by 11 points to Nathan Nguyen. Thought it was over. And it is now, but I only lost by 1. Thank you to Pete Alonso for going 0 for 5 tonight with 2 strikeouts. Just 1 hit. I would have won that matchup. 1 stinging hit. I would have won that matchup.
See, I understand your your suffering? Because if you recall, I lost to you by a single point
Yes. Yeah, I do remember that.
earlier this year. So
That was really good.
I know of what you speak.
I had 5 players with negative points today. 5 of them.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate your contribution.
Killing me. Guys that shouldn't be in the negatives. Pete Alonso shouldn't be in the negative. Ellie De La Cruz shouldn't be in the negative. And here we sit. So there you go. And now granted, I had 2 guys on my bench, and both of them had positive points. So I played the right guys. That's another thing too. But I digress. Man, that stinks. Congrats, Nate. I love Nate. He's doing a great job playing. He's grown a lot playing fantasy baseball. And check out his show, the 3rd and 10 podcast.
Absolutely.
Well, good stuff going on over there too. So
with our friend Brian also on that show.
Well, I'd call him our frenemy. I wouldn't like to be a friend, but no, I'm kidding, of course. Brian joins us every Tuesday for the Belly Up Football Show. And Brian's a great guy as well. Just doesn't play fantasy baseball, at least not with us. Doesn't play fantasy baseball. So we'll get him on one of these days. A guy that we talked about, Kevin, I don't know why. I don't think anybody cares. Devin Williams, I picked him up as well in our league. 10 points today. 9 points in his last game, 7 points before that. Again, you get these guys that have rough starts. That's why I don't like to give up on guys. Pay attention, know what's out there, especially in the relief world. Depending on how your league scores things, there's always guys available with relievers. So go get them. All right, Kevin, what do you got going on this week content-wise?
Well, this last week, I put out an article. It's been that busy. Well, let's talk about, because I have an article that's going out tomorrow, and it pretty much is the ads that we've already just talked about. I expand on it a little bit further, but I've got the streaming pictures that you want before Thursday comes. So that will be going out tomorrow. Then the no credentials required. We went a little early on Thursday because they had something going on Saturday, but we talked about the trade deadline on that show. And so you check that out. The Saturday, because the no credential required show did not happen, we did the Seahawks show and got pretty deeply into that. And so that's out there. Let's see. Then we got, of course, Tuesday show where we're going to be talking about some fantasy football. So you definitely want to check into that. Then on Wednesday, I'm going to be joining DJ and as a drafter.
Oh, yeah. Fantasy.
I'm not going to actually be on the show or anything, but I'm going to be drafting while they're live. So if you're looking to see what a draft for fantasy football might look like, you might want to check that out on Wednesday.
That's High-Low Sports.
Yes.
Is that one.
That's right.
Yeah. And DJ filled in.
That's right.
You go Tuesday as well on the fantasy football show. So, great stuff. Great stuff there this week. Same thing Tuesday. Belly Up Fantasy Live football show, going on Tuesday. Hope that you'll join us for that. And then Thursday, me and my dad should be doing the AFC North this week. We've been going through the football preview, NFL preview as well. We got 3 divisions still to go through. So we're looking at make or break players, breakout players, depth chart battles, win totals, floors and ceilings for every team. It's a lot of fun. So hopefully you'll tune in to that on Thursday. I believe we're doing it Thursday this week, so we should be good to go on there. Next Sunday, me and Kevin will be back to do Belly Up Fantasy Live Baseball, talking more fantasy advice. We'll be then 4 weeks away, a month away from the fantasy playoffs at that point. So we'll keep you up to date on everything going on there as well. He's Kevin Wilson. Follow him on Twitter /X at Kevin62 WILSEA. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Sports Stove. And I know especially, and I think Kevin does sometimes too, depending on who it is, I try to retweet anything with baseball moves related, trades and things like that with some comments on there as well. So make sure you follow us on social media for those kinds of things. Check out bellyupsports.com. Great content there. The Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. RighteousFelon.com with the promo code BELLYUP for 15% off. And SeatGeek for all your tickets. SeatGeek.com with the promo code BellyUpSports for for that one there as well. Thank you for tuning into this edition of Belly Up Fantasy Live Baseball Show. We'll see you again next week. Have a wonderful walk-off week, and watch out for that council curse.
That's right.